Chris Hensley is a registered representative of Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a broker-dealer member of FINRA SIPC, investment advisor representative, Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Cambridge and Houston First Financial Group are not affiliated.
Good afternoon, everybody. You're listening to Money Matters with Chris Hensley. The time is now actually 1 p.m. I'm so used to saying 11, but it is at 1 today. And I am broadcasting live from the bedroom in the middle of my house as opposed to the studio at KPFT. We are still there at KPFT. Basically, the only shows going are going to be the live shows. The HT shows are kind of on hiatus. I've personally been on hiatus since September, but I am coming off a hiatus to talk and visit again with Jackie, who is with us today. Jackie Aguilera has been one of the Jackie, you've probably been one of the most frequent returning guests, which we don't have a lot of returning guests, but you are one of and so what's interesting is we had done a conversation back in April, actually, and it was kind of right at the beginning of when COVID first started. I mean, February, March, April, that's when we were just kind of getting into things there. And we did a show called Educating Online During COVID. And so I thought this one would be a good one to kind of introduce yourself. Can you introduce yourself to the listeners who aren't who may not know you as well as I do?
So many return trips. After a while, you just move in or become the permanent guest, right? Thank you again. I am Jackie Aguilera. Currently, I'm the project manager for the Mayor's Office for Adult Literacy in Houston, Texas.
And that's one of the things we'll kind of do a deep dive into today is what's going on with that, because last time I talked to you, you were in a different role with a different organization. But I know since April that we've had, if we look at the nonprofits and kind of what's been going on, we look at employers just citywide where there's a lot of layoffs and that sort of thing. Bring us from April to now.
Well, just like our world, everything's been spinning, so quickly. And, I have to really applaud the adult literacy community because they responded, they have been adapting. It really has been a sense of evolution with the organizations, the dedication to helping adults to continue to develop skills, to have access to what they need to get good jobs, take care of their families. This was really what we were just beginning to touch when you and I started talking back in April. I mean, we at that point really realized that this was not a 8-week situation. This was something that was going to really change the world in which we lived in, and it did. It pushed us into actually not only utilizing technology, but incorporating it into our daily life. In doing so, of course, it changed the entire plan for most organizations, one of those being EastSide University, which, most people know that I, started out as an instructor there and ended up becoming the president for that school in the 3rd Ward, Houston, serving the greater Houston area, helping with job skills. And one of the big fundraisers for the school was scheduled right in the middle of the pandemic, just like many other organizations. And this school being a small nonprofit, the fundraisers that it had really were a major part of the fundraising that supported the staff members and supported the programs and classes offered. So with that came a very large challenge, if you will. And so in reevaluating and looking at the future of the school, decisions like in many other businesses and nonprofits had to be made. One of those being, of course, for a school that is serving a community is what is the mission and what is the purpose and how do we continue that mission and purpose. So very long stories cut short, I found myself in a position to support the school in an alternative manner. And that manner included me searching out some other opportunities and still continuing to be serving in an advisory capacity for the school. Now, this allowed the teachers to do what they were supposed to do and allowed students to continue to learn as much as they could in new ways. We're talking mobile apps. We're talking, using phones, getting computers, laptops out to homes and families. We exhausted that inventory so that our students who could get connected could continue to learn. We worked with Comcast for many of those guys to get on the Essentials program, which is, low cost internet, help them with cost with laptop. All these things were happening. In the midst of all this, again, in my searching for other opportunities, I was very fortunate to come across the opportunity to apply for this position as project manager of the Mayor's Office for Adult Literacy. It was very competitive, and I tell you, it was an extremely fabulous process to go through because it put me to another level. And I'm happy to say that right at the beginning of the summer, I was able to come on board here as project manager.
Well, I love it. I love it. Well, congratulations. The mayor's office is lucky to have you there. So that gives us a really good idea of what was going on, because the last time we talked, there was the challenges of people working remotely, learning remotely, and some of that stuff you guys had already integrated into the platform there that was there at EastSide University. So I really like the idea of your new position with the mayor's office kind of dovetails, like it's something that you could still report. So let's fast forward from April to now. Tell us a little bit more about what you've been doing there and really what that program is all about.
Sure. So, Chris, this is the Money Matters show, and it's all about those finances and the impact of financial decision making. Sometimes those decisions are hard. And, again, we make changes in our staff, in our lives in order to keep afloat, to keep things going. And of course, one of the things that I found, I was able to start doing some more searching out, getting some surveys done. We found, that 14 providers out of the roughly 65 that we do have open communications with right from the beginning, we're continuing to do services in one way, shape, or form, even if that involved the good old-fashioned correspondence method where we send mail outs. But they did it. Between April and June, those guys served over 9,000 adults. So they still made it happen. And what this office does is really represent the impact, the collective impact that agencies, organizations, whether they be through colleges and universities, smaller neighborhood-based, community-based organizations, churches, the neighbors in the backyard. I mean, anyone that we can find. One of the new places that I found was in Pasadena. Not so new, but new to me. 18 years serving Pasadena at Twin Oaks Apartments. And it was there with the residents. It's an ESL program. So these are things that we, as the Office for Adult Literacy, keep track of. We're finding the providers and then, of course, offering opportunities for them to network, to support each other. We're helping to develop training and research. I'm very glad to say the things that we've been doing, the providers have been doing and reporting to us. We've been able to share with, of course, those in charge, not only citywide, but statewide, nationwide, recently, because of Mayor Turner's great support for adult literacy, for getting this office off the ground, especially at a very great need of time when we just came off of a winning X Prize, which is, something that we talk about technology. Yeah. And we had a big celebration because our small team had won this national competition to pilot apps. Now, talk about timing. We had no idea that this was going to occur where we would be reliant on that type of technology, but the organizations who were involved were able to adapt more quickly and more efficiently. And that put our city under a spotlight. And with the mayor's support, we're now getting national recognition, and we're being looked to help contribute to a national model for adult literacy in order to make impact. Mayor Turner received a national award in September for his support of adult education. And there are just some wonderful things happening with the support and partnership of the library. We've been able to secure a wonderful grant from the Molina Foundation. There was 38,000 brand new books from the Walt Disney Corporation. We've gotten that out to providers across the city, and we had our one of our last pickups today from the Sheriff's Department. They have a literacy program where they, have books to help people read, to build those skills that they need for our youth. And we've got 38,000 books, brand new, out in the
Wow.
city, in programs, helping to build home libraries, helping families read with their children, adults and families doing it together. And when we talk about financial success and financial health, that health of the family and the family's ability to work together, to read together, to process and problem solve together, all of that leads to a prosperous future. And so, it's a hand-in-hand effort that this office has been fortunate enough to help facilitate partnerships, networks. We're looking forward to some wonderful things, be involved in some national research that will, speaking of economics, hopefully bring some opportunities for our providers to get support and funding, help more people, and make a healthier, more prosperous city.
So I'm smiling real big because I follow you on social media, and I saw the pictures where you guys were rolling out the book programs and stuff, and I was like, wow, Jackie's still doing stuff in the middle of all of this. And so I know that you're a person of action. I see you out there doing that stuff. What's interesting is that the X Prize that you had mentioned, we had just talked about that, about the app, and how kind of finding a silver lining to all of this is that you guys were kind of ahead of the curve when it came to the online technology, the mobile technology, and I could see how that would translate really well in a citywide effort. Thinking about what's going on during the pandemic and COVID, there are a lot of people that are being expected to use technology that aren't the most technology proficient. They're maybe not used to it. Part of what you guys did through adult literacy in the past was retooling and giving people the skills to get there. So this seems hugely, hugely something very positive for the city, to see it keep going, and that momentum and the grants there. One of the stories that you had shared to me, because you just mentioned the surveys that you did, and you said 14 out of 65 of the organizations were still completing their mission, but you had some, I don't want to say negative, but you had some kind of calls that you made where you were reaching out to people, and you got kind of a surprising answer. Share that with us.
Sure, absolutely. One of the things that I do want to share, and of course, you always start out, well, I like to start out with the positive, the good news. Let's lift each other up.
Right.
And it's still, in its own way, positive news, because what it does is it gets us to start being motivated to do different things and take different options. Most of the organizations, of course, had a great impact, and this is large, colleges to neighborhoods, on the number of students served. There was an assumption, that many people, everyone has a phone, so they know how to use it. And that includes learning from it, and that includes teaching from it. I mean, there's so many things that we assume. That included the assumption that you had enough bandwidth to handle programs to learn from. That assumed that you even understand enough about the technology to use it or to help your children. And so there were a lot of lessons and opportunities for us to grow and learn. One of the ways that I was assessing the community, of course, is by picking up the phone and calling people and calling organizations, making notes for our office on challenges so we can plan trainings and networks and support. And unfortunately, in some of those phone calls, I would ask for someone, and in 2 calls, I was told that person had passed. And
wow.
so, when you call for someone that you just saw over little more than a year ago or less, and they passed away. It's kind of a shocker, number one.
Right.
And number two, the things that we still take for granted. And so again, those kind of calls shake you up a little bit.
Yeah.
One of the things that became a challenge too for Eastside, of course, and many who are affiliated or partners with EastSide University or Holman Street Baptist Church, was of course the passing of Dr. Manson B. Johnson.
Right.
And so, as not only the leader and founder of the school, but Holman Street Baptist Church and so many other great projects and programs and just things that he was involved in. So, looking at what is the impact of COVID on our daily lives, on our functioning, the unexpected. We talk about this a lot in financial education and discussions, plan for the unexpected, right? We talk about these things, but, making sure that there is a contingency plan to all parts of life. Not only having enough money in the bank, but making sure that, when you're running a business, whether it's one that you own yourself or that you're working for, that you check those plans. Are those transition plans in place? Is there enough information that if something happened to you or someone in charge, that someone else could pick that information up and at least understand what a plan was meant to be, and again, that's part of being successful.
So I will just piggyback on that because you've also worked with me in the capacity of Houston Money Week, and that's been one of our very big themes, at least in the past years. We've had emergency or disaster recovery, which focused around hurricanes and flooding, but that could really be anything at this point. And we've seen a lot of businesses who had emergency plans in place, but people don't necessarily think about that when it comes to consumer finance and personal finance, and we absolutely should, because a lot of those plan Bs are now plan As as far as people being prepared. That's in some ways that's a good thing, right? So the idea that that you guys had the technology before this stuff started rolling out. I know personally with my clients, I mean, we talked about this on the phone. I had a couple of clients' spouses pass, a couple of people's parents go through kind of caregiving things going on as well.
Right.
And so these are real things that are happening, and we're seeing it. But if we're looking for like a silver lining, I've in the past tried to get my clients to do these remote calls instead of coming into the office, and it is very difficult because of the age range of people that I work with. Now we have everybody else kind of validating the idea that this is kind of what we're doing right now. So I can see where in the past it's very difficult to get grants and funding for this sort of stuff. Now it's not a if, it's a necessity. And so you guys have some of that stuff in place already. What plans do you have moving forward with this? What do you see in the future for this?
Well, we're no longer looking forward to the 21st century. We are building the 21st century. In fact, we are living the new reality. If you think about it historically, we talk about the pioneers, and a lot of times, in conversations, especially among the nerds, we talk about, wow, I wish I would have been a pioneer. Well, guess what? We're now pioneers. We are in the Wild West here. And we are literally rebuilding. And again, that's part of the opportunity. Yes, the pandemic is an extremely powerful, devastating thing that has happened to all our existence, from professional to personal. But looking at, we must move forward. And how do we do that? We look for opportunities. Again, the digital divide is larger than ever. The disparity, the obvious lack of resources in lower income, impoverished neighborhoods, the lack of technology support, all of these things are just opportunities now that we know this is not a part of discussion anymore. Technology is no longer something nice to have, or, oh yeah, it's something good to have as an addition to. No, it is the main vehicle. And now that we've shown that we can use it, that we can adapt, believe it, it is not going away. This is part of our new norm. We are creating the new reality together, the new age, post-COVID age. And so with that comes the awareness and the foresight to keep pushing integration of technology and knowledge. And remember to not assume that just because someone has technology, they know and understand how to use it, especially for work and educational purposes. If we're going to support our families and our children to continue to help them prosper and grow, we have to support our adults to help them understand the technology, the uses, the application, and to teach them how to teach their children, to support their children in positive ways. We're going to have to work together now more than ever, break down the silos. That is one of the things that we have been working on adamantly, is making the connections with everyone in the pipeline, from the ISDs into the general occupations, of course, into the higher education fields. Every aspect of the lifetime cycle needs to be working together. And this office is extremely adamant on pulling those entities together to move forward and to formulate plans. One of the things that everyone should know about is, and if you haven't, well, Google it and learn real quick, is the ION. It is our technology corridor. This 2 years ago, an article came out talking about Houston, and our mayor has said it many, many times. Houston is primed to be the Silicon Bayou. We have Google relocated. We have Microsoft. Hewlett Packard's coming. I mean, everything is being built. The ION, where the old Sears used to be, is going to be the technology hub for training, for employment, for connections. And so if you're going to have access to those opportunities, you need the skills, you need the understanding, you need all the background in order to apply for those training opportunities. And that's where adult education comes in. That's where our office plays a role to help broker partnerships and relationships with the over 65 providers that we have connections with throughout the greater Houston area. And it's expanding. Because of this new wonderful world now, we're having regular conversations across the state, across the nation, and with my director, he has connections all over the world, so his conversations are global, and we're all looking at the impact of COVID, but more importantly, what are the solutions to the challenges, and how do we keep moving forward and moving people up?
Now, when you mentioned the ION and you said the Sears, was this the Sears that was downtown?
You got it.
Oh, wow. Because I keep driving by that. That's literally 10 minutes away from my office. And I was like, well, what the heck are they going to do with that's what's going on there? Okay. You just told me something new today. Well,
check that out, Chris, because I mean, it's literally adding us, we've had oil and gas, agriculture, we have medical, of course, my gosh, our amazing medical center. Right. Well, guess what? Now we're the Silicon Bayou. We've got a technology corridor.
I love it. I love it. Well, and Jackie, so you've been just a great example of somebody who's been able to adjust and kind of pivot through this. And that's what we're all supposed to do, is adapt and adjust and pivot when this stuff happens. When you talked about connecting, you reached out by phone to me. I've been bunkered down for 3 months here and have been on a hiatus. I appreciate you doing that, and would encourage more people to communicate and reach out there. For people who want to know more, how do we get in contact how can we help the organization? How do we find out more information about it?
Well, I'll tell you, one of the quickest and best ways to do is go on your favorite search engine and put in the Mayor's Office for Adult Literacy, Houston. And that will take you to our City of Houston website, where you'll find all the information about our office. You'll find resources. More importantly, you'll get a chance to connect with us and we'll be able to start including those persons who really can benefit with potential partnerships, networking, as we continue to contribute to looking at the potential solutions for the city, doing research, and really taking a look at what can be done to increase the value of life for all Houstonians, the equal access to opportunities for all Houstonians.
I love it. I love it. Jackie, we are right here at the end of the show. Is there any, as usual, we can just keep going, but we're bumping towards the end here. Is there anything that I forgot to ask you that you'd like to share with listeners?
Well, the thing is, Chris, and just persevere. I think that's been a theme in financial education, but it's life education. Make a way, don't give up, reach out to people, do not stay isolated. We have a way to connect, use it, whatever means you have to, but be there, and let's be there for each other.
I love it. I love it. Jackie, thanks once again for being on the show. Have a great rest of the day, and you have been listening to Money Matters.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of Money Matters Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, visit us on the web at www.moneymatterspodcast.com. Drop us a line on SpeakPipe on the right-hand corner. It will receive any voicemails, questions, thoughts, concerns that you have about the show. In addition to this, we recently launched a Patreon campaign. Click on the Donate Now tab to hit the tip jar and find out what Patreon's campaign is all about.